Good evening, everyone, both IIA board members, guests, and staff attending. This is the Irvine International Board of Directors regularly scheduled board meeting. It is February 14th, 6 p.m., also known as Valentine's Day. We're at location 472 Karen Ann Lane, Irvine, California, 92604, with all board members who are present on location and our executive director via Zoom. We'll do a opening roll call, and I'll go ahead and call the meeting to order with this roll call. Beginning with myself, Doug Hewson is present. Brett Freeman.
Present.
Jolene Smith will not be joining us tonight. She is out ill, and we'll mark her not present. Miller Zhuang.
Present.
And David Sun.
Present.
Felipe Delgado.
Present.
And next to me, Molly Chang.
Present.
Wonderful. I'd love to invite a board member to lead us in a pledge of allegiance if there's a volunteer. Of course, I'm always a great fallback. Anyone like to lead it? Molly like to lead it? I'm going to pass the mic to you when we stand. Our flag is in a general direction to the left.
Put your right hand over there.
when you're ready.
Okay, put your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you for that. We'll begin with a brief review for all board members before we approve the order of the agenda. Is there anything on the agenda that we would like to address prior to its time coming up that we want to make an adjustment? Anyone see anything that's pressing before another thing? Otherwise, I'll ask for a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Motion to approve.
Okay, Brett Freeman motions and Miller seconds. And we'll do a real quick roll call vote then on this agenda and begin with myself. Doug Hewson is a yes. Brett Freeman.
Aye.
And we'll skip Jolene. Miller. And David. Felipe.
Yes.
And Molly. We have an agenda. Wonderful. Thank you, by the way. These are prepared by our office manager and Mary Beth Chen. Thank you for always keeping us on track. We begin with a closed session. I'm forecasting we have a contract to approve and at least one employee topic that we'll talk about. I'm forecasting 15 minutes. It could be shorter, but I think that's a fair assessment as well. And so we'll briefly pause from our public. We'll invite our executive director in with us, and we could go to the other room, or do you want to do it probably a little more private, huh? Okay, we'll go to our other private room then. All right, welcome back everybody to Irvine International Academy Board of Directors meeting, February 14th. We finished our closed session reporting out. The board approved a contract for our interim director of human resources. The vote was motion by Brett Freeman, and the second was by David Sun, and unanimous vote straight down the line. And Jolene Smith not present. Mary Beth. Wonderful. From that, we're now on item number 4, Roman numeral number 4. Any public comments on items outside of the agenda? Mary Beth, any to share public comments?
Is anyone online wanting to share?
Don't see any messages from anyone online, but we do thank those that are watching now and those that will watch the recording later. We'll move on then to item number 5, our executive director report from Dr. Bean.
Hi. Can you guys hear me all right?
Yes,
Yeah.
you can.
All right, great. So we just have a few things. What's going on in our school right now? As you know, we have open enrollment goes till March 15th. The great news is actually we've had lots and lots of interest and enthusiasm about our school, partly because we were on KTTV, as you are well aware, and that sent a lot of interest our way, as well as we did an advertisement push and through Facebook, social media advertisement. So I think our enrollment, Mary Beth, if you can correct me if I'm wrong, but our enrollment right now is at 244, and our interest is at least 60 people. Is that correct, Mary Beth?
It's 242 and our interest is about 50.
Okay,
right
so
now.
our interest is about 50 for next school year, and most of those are for TK and Kinder, and that's exactly who we need is TK and Kinder for next year as we build our schools. So that's pretty exciting news. We still have about a month before lottery, so we're going to generate a lot more interests. I also wanted to commend Mary Beth because she's been working with a new platform for our lottery, and that's called School Mint. She's been working countless hours with School Mint to make it easily accessible for our parents who are interested in enrolling, going to our website, completing a form, and then goes right into our student information system. And Mary Beth soon is going to reach out to all returning parents to have them register for next year. So big kudos to Mary Beth and her team to get School Mint going. That's going to make things a lot easier for next year. Did you want to say anything about that, Mary Beth? School Mint?
No, okay.
Okay. Well, you're doing a great job.
Let's start on Friday.
The other thing that this board should be aware of is on March 1st is our decision hearing for OCDE. We will have 10 minutes to respond to their staff recommendation, which should have been published today, this afternoon, or tomorrow. So I'm going to go look on the website to see what the recommendation is, but we're pretty confident that the staff recommendation is to allow us to expand to 8th grade and then to have 50-minute minimum PE minutes each week versus what it was originally. I believe it was like 100 minutes every week. So if anybody is available to join us, Felipe did a great job last time at the public hearing, gave a wonderful comment. And so we have 10 minutes to do that. So if anybody wants to do that with me, please reach out and we'll make sure that we can make that happen. We also will only have 15 minutes for public comments by parents. So I know that Mary Beth, Sai, Lillian, and myself will be working with people like Felipe to bring in some parents who want to make some public comments. But we're pretty confident that will be a 5-0 decision from the board on the 1st. Just so you know, our school is working currently on staffing what we call classroom configurations for next year. One thing that most schools experience is that the principal just assigns classrooms based on, maybe first and second preferences by teachers. But I do things a little differently. We've engaged conversations among the leadership team and among our teachers. And then next Wednesday, we're going to have a whole staff conversation around different classroom configurations and grade level assignments. So I really wanted the whole staff to be a part of that conversation versus it just being a top-down decision. As you know, we have an interim HR director, that's Betsy. So she will continue to help us until we find a permanent HR director. Currently, in terms of curriculum, we are testing ELA and math iReady testing. Our kids should be finished in the next week, and then we will report out in March the results of that. And then just so you also know, in a couple weeks, I will be leading our staff through a cycle of inquiry data analysis. If any of you would like to be a part of that, it would be great for you to be a part of how we analyze data through this cycle of inquiry. And then the last piece is I do want to, since there's been a lot of conversation about what our Mandarin program looks like, I do want to invite Sandy to come on so that she can share with you from her perspective what we do, what our Mandarin program looks like. I'm going to text her because I see her online, but let me just make sure she's there. We are ready. While she comes on board, later on, I'm going to talk about the wellness policy and why we encourage the board to approve that plan. Any questions while Sandy? I'm trying to get a hold of her. All right, well, we could probably have her share in a public comment later if she gets on. But I can just tell you that our main curriculum for Mandarin is Better Immersion Chinese. That's the core content. And then we have supplemental material that supports the different levels of learning that our students come in with. And that's Mandarin Matrix and then learning level or level learning. I was getting confused whether it's level learning or learning level. Learning, oh, nope, that's not her. Learning level is a computerized, there she is. I'll have her explain. So Sandy, I was just giving an overview of what our Chinese curriculum is here at Irvine International. If you would like to go ahead and add to it.
Yes, actually, I prepared this presentation to show everybody what is Chinese curriculum look like in more details. So I would like to share with you about the Google here, the share screen. Oh,
Go ahead and share.
look like I'm not able to share the screen here.
Go ahead.
Mhm.
You can share.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Open this. Okay, so look like I'm not able to share screen for this laptop. So how could I share with everybody's here? Let me try the other one. Sorry. Let me try to log in again.
No, hold on, Mary Beth, did you give Sandy the hosting rights? You made her a host.
Open the system preference.
Okay, you are co-host, so you should be able to just click on share screen on the bottom, Sandy.
Yes, I know. So basically I'm trying to do the share screen. I think it's my my laptop situation. So let me try to log in again. Sorry.
Okay, so while she again, I go there.
One sec.
So while she comes back, did anybody have any questions on any of the other areas that I gave you updates on?
Dr. Bean, I have a question. I'm just curious on the leadership team, the instructional leadership team. What are the outputs and deliverables that team provides? And is there any sort of metric measurement on those deliverables as it relates to the school? Is it just based on the results from iReady, or are there other things that the school can track to progress?
And you are asking in particular of our instructional leadership team?
Correct.
Okay, yeah. So our instructional leadership team, I have a Fab 5 rubric that we use with them. And part of the Fab 5 rubric is 1, support teachers, 2, lead data conversations with their team, 3, attend instructional leadership team meetings and give their input as lead teachers, 4, model lessons should they be asked to do that by when they support teachers. And then the 5th one is lead the instructional programming of our school. And so our lead teachers meet weekly. We measure their success basically on peer survey. So I'm glad you asked that question, because the family surveys are going to be, I just finished completing or creating this family survey today, and that's going to go out to families in the next week. Then we give student surveys. So students get to survey and assess their teachers. And then I give what's called peer survey. So the teachers get to survey one another. In particular, they get to survey how well the lead team or lead teacher supported their instruction for this year. So that's the only metric. I do not hold the lead team to student data because the whole school is accountable to that, not just the ILT. And so that, yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, I guess I'm asking from the perspective of, and I understand your comment of the whole school. We can't hold them, the ILT team, responsible for the whole school, but I guess I'm wondering how we track the progress of the ILT, you know, because that becomes the core team from which things are diffused into the school. And so I'm just trying to get a hold of that, you know, so we have our own internal metrics, and then we also have those things that are the assessment-based, you know, results for the school as well. And I hear you mentioned the survey.
Mhm.
Is that the predominant metric that we would use for?
Yeah, it's the survey, and then it's of course my my own qualitative data around how each member did in a leadership team. But I don't, you know, I think it's we only try to have leaders on that team. I try not to make it a high stress thing because it's volunteer basis, right? It's if a teacher wants to, because they're already doing a lot of extra things by being a lead team member. And so I try not to make it too high stakes, but a survey certainly is good. And then my own personal observation of how they function within the team.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, and I'm just bringing it up because of how we measure progress. You know,
Yeah, I mean, we measure progress through our quantitative data that we have, right? With iReady Math, iReady ELA, Young Chinese Test, and then certainly our LPAC results, and then our SBAC data. I'll be sharing those results in March meeting regarding internal program data.
Okay.
All right, so Sandy's back. Sandy, I'm gonna turn it over to you.
Okay. Well, that's a
Sandy, you shared the screen successfully. I think you just have to mute one of your. Sandy, another idea is just to email it to me, and I can do it while you talk. Do you want to just email it to me quickly?
Yes.
Okay. And then Mary Beth, maybe you can mute one of. Oh, she got off. Never mind. All right, let me pull it up. All right, here we go. Opening it now. Please make me the co-host. Mary Beth,
Yes, go ahead.
thank you. And Sandy, I'm going to share my screen now, so you can go ahead and start presenting.
Okay.
Thumbs up board if you can see it.
Ready to go?
Yep.
Did everybody can hear me?
You want me to? I'll move it up.
Yes. Dr. Bin, can you hear me?
Yeah, yes. We can hear you.
Okay, so the reason why we choose Better Immersion Chinese as our core is, as you can see, according to the research, they are following the district they have been using the Better Immersion Chinese to make our Chinese curriculum is compatible with the other school. So for California one, definitely will have a LAUSD and San Diego Unified School District, and Northern California will be Furman Unified School District. And also with the South Washington and state of Delaware and Texas and Utah. So those are the curriculum we've been using. And Better Immersion Chinese reach for teachers well, that will support a whole group and a small group instruction to address the need for our student. And also reduce the teacher's workload, induce a consistency to the comprehensive diary lesson plan instruction support, which would mean in the teacher's guide actually already have a diary lesson plan and also strategy how to implement those lesson. And in the classroom material, the teacher has been provided with a pictorial card, reading poster, and card of a Chinese character and sentence frames, small book for student, and also with a big book for the whole group instruction and teacher's guide as well. And how about sometimes the parents were wondering how about the support for the student. So Better Immersion Chinese actually will have an online app and also with a website. Inside have a based on your student level, and then that will provide it with the website, storybook, and games. And of course, the most important thing is they also providing the workbook for the in-class and after class. That's for the supplemental Mandarin resource that they haven't provided yet. That's why we choose this one, because some of the Chinese parents or parents they will require the things more like hands-on the material for the student can practice. Yes. And this one is the sustainable and futures ready. As you can see, the starter. So this program actually is from starter all the way up to the level 8. So and then so think about this one. This is actually based on the self first, and then we're going now for interpersonal, and then community, and then to the world. So we'll always start from the beginning, from the starter first. As you can see, they will become like a spiral and comprehensive and scope and sequence. And right now our kindergarten is start from the starter. And then this one also provide the online teacher guide, and online teacher guide actually will embedded a lot of instructional strategy and how to balance the literacy approach and also backward design. What do we talk about the backward design? Teacher have to thinking about what they have to be at the end first. If that is a project-based learning, we can come up with a project, and based on that at the end of the project, and we can talk about how we're going to implement. And this is a better immersion, the scope and sequences. Actually, better immersion originally is give that to the school is a 90-10 model. What is called 90-10 model? Is a dual immersion program. The target language, which is Mandarin, in using kindergarten 90% instruction time, and English is 10%. However, our school model is a 50-50. Based on that, as you can see, kindergarten is already divided two parts. It's kindergarten will start at Unit 1 to Unit 16, and first grade 17 to 32, all the way to the end. So, question? Okay. And then at the end is Mandarin language supplemental curriculum. Like what we say so far, currently our level learning is implemented to the 2nd and to 6th grade level. A Mandarin metric provided to the TK to 6th grade student. iChinese Reader, which is a storybook, support a better immersion Chinese and only for the teachers. So. And sometimes I heard some of our parents are just wondering, what's the difference between the level Chinese and also with the better immersion? Level Chinese is more focused on the differentiation instruction, and which is we can provide that to the different level of the student. And also we can doing that as a small group to reinforce their literacy, reinforce their oral proficiency level. And Mandarin Matrix is especially it is making make it special is because Mandarin Matrix is provided with the literacy, and also during immersion school will need is math and science. And also is already translated in Chinese. Yes, that's so far, that's our supplemental curriculum support of better immersion Chinese.
I think it's important for me to add, just to emphasize what Ms. Small just talked about, that better immersion Chinese is the core program of Irvine International. Now, if we want to study whether that's the appropriate curriculum or not, we can certainly get together a committee that some suggested. I think it's a great idea to analyze whether that's important or not. I also want to say that a lot of families, a lot of parents are really liking level learning because what they're seeing is students being able to be supported at their particular level. And that's why it's a great program, because it helps the teacher to differentiate the instructions based on the different levels we have in that classroom. As you know, we have a lot of levels, because when we get a new student in the middle of the year, they may know 0 Mandarin, and so they're going to need that differentiated instruction. So it is a supplement. Also, we are considering, because it's been successful through the introduction this year, and I'm glad that Ms. Weisha brought this idea to us to bring it into our school. It's great. And so next year, we're hoping to expand that and offering it to TK all the way through 7th grade for level learning. And then, of course, Mandarin Matrix, it's important to reemphasize what Sandy mentioned, and that is Mandarin Matrix gives the supplemental material in math and science for Mandarin. Because remember, we teach 50-50, so we also teach science in Mandarin. And so the way we access science in Mandarin is through Mandarin Matrix. So that's why you see all these different tools that we use when we instruct Chinese in our school. So thank you, Sandy, for that brief analysis of what our curriculum looks like. Appreciate that. Do we have any questions for Sandy before she gets off?
Sandy, thank you for your presentation and the introduction. So I certainly think it helps the board members, certainly for me, to better understand the different materials and the curriculum. And one of the question and maybe concerns raised during my conversation, sometimes mostly informal conversation with other parents, is that they may the feedback is for the better immersion. Sometimes they don't necessarily get the support, from the vendor. And when you have the technical issues, you don't get immediate result. Do you know why that? And what are the measures putting in place, or you guys are thinking about putting in place to mitigate the problem going forward?
Me?
Yeah.
Okay. So actually I'm not here very well. Yeah. So
Sandy, I heard what he said, so I'll go and say it. So through conversations with some parents, it's been known that we've had issues with the actual vendor of Better Immersion in terms of response time, both on the digital platform, and I experienced this with when we placed a new order at the beginning of the year. The vendor was very delayed in response and whatnot. I know that this program was brought on last year. Yes. Can you tell us what we're going to do to expedite a lot of those lack of responses?
Yes, I think at this point, it's after we purchase the material, I think so far I have been talking to Lane about how to edit the student account. So yes, so far so good, but at the beginning of the year is tough. And yes, so I think from now on, maybe I can just talk to Lane about our expectation, what does it look like, and then building building a relationship with them. Hopefully that will help.
And one of the things that Sandy implemented just within the last few weeks is that, as she mentioned, we are now internally updating the student information system for better immersion ourselves. And so she actually, she actually assigned or asked for support from one of our lead teachers, and that's Victoria. So Victoria has been very helpful to, with Sandy's support, to actually get that student information in there, so we don't have the same problems that we had just a couple months ago, which was we had to wait for the vendor to update our student information.
Very confident, thank you. So when in the future, you have whenever you have issues, you sign up a contract with the vendors. You have a specific requirement in terms of timely support, very quick response in terms of product delivery and service. All that, did you put that in writing? If they fail to deliver on time, quality product or service, you should have some recourse, right?
Thank you for bringing that up. And then I think next time if we would like to do the business with a better immersion Chinese, and then I will make that as our requirement.
And I'll support as the executive director, because I and now understanding better immersion a little bit better. So, any other questions or comments for Sandy? I know she's taking her Valentine's.
Thank you. It's Brad, I have a question. Better immersion, I believe the kindergarten and first grade, based on my experience, my daughter's experience, there is a username and password so we can access it, but it isn't typically part of the homework. I don't really recall it ever really being part of homework. Is it something being used in the class?
Well, actually, they do that. They actually can do that in the class. It's really depend on how how teacher want to implement it in their class. Like you see, we have a better immersion Chinese level learning, Mandarin metric, eye tracing reader. So at homework, for the kindergarten, I would like to have them to practice more. So I will assign it. Then, since we have a alternative material, sometimes a teacher will say, oh, this is optional, because you don't want to give a lot of homework to the parents or student as well.
Okay, yeah, just a point, because just in my experience in seeing it the past 2 years, that it's inconsistent. And if it's inconsistent between grades, it's probably inconsistent between classes. Trying to create a system here of best practice in teaching. Certainly you have your mandatory homework, but then you could also have optional homework.
Yes.
And that's being used consistently. Otherwise, you have gaps between classes.
Yeah, I totally understand, and that's a very good suggestion. And we would, I will inform to the Mandarin teacher, hey, this is this is our core, and this is mandatory. They have to finish, and the others will be the optional work to build in the consistency.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, I mean, it's really if we're trying to create, as Mandarin is so critical to the mission, the charter of the school.
Oh, of course.
Standardized system that we're following. That's my comment. Thank you so much.
Yes.
I want to piggyback on that and say that right now we're in a period of planning for next year. And so it's pivotal that we either put together this Mandarin curriculum committee that one of the board members suggested, or we get our Chinese teachers to actually work as a team to be able to align and have a coherent Mandarin language art program throughout the year. And so one of the challenges is to do that, because we have different, as you can see here, we have different supplemental curriculum, and we have the main core. We've got to align on a scope and sequence that goes from TK all the way through 7th grade or 8th grade, and not do these things in isolation and not do these things on an island. One of the lessons we've learned is this year, we started off wanting to have a scope and sequence, but as we have different levels of learning in the classroom, teachers then have made the decision to differentiate their own instruction outside of the scope and sequence. And that's fine, because teachers should do that, right? Teachers should be able to make their own decisions that's best for the needs of their kids. But we definitely need to have guardrails, which I think is the next task for us, is to have guardrails and have a coherent program that all of our Chinese teachers can adhere to. Okay, so Sandy, thank you for your time. We appreciate you coming in.
Thank
Happy
you.
Valentine's.
Happy Valentine's Day, everybody. See you.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, so that
Hold on,
is our. Oh,
Sandy, just a
Hang on.
second. We have one more.
Can you
Okay.
hear me
oh,
okay?
one more.
I got one more item.
Go for it.
Okay, see, I hate when you say what I was just about to say. I hate that, all right, for one thing, because you're right. The plan should be between grades also, those guardrails. The teachers need to understand that they can adjust their program by the class and the students in there. But the guardrail is that those students are moving to the next level or to the next grade. And the next teacher is expecting those students to be, at a particular level of Chinese learning. So it's important that the previous teacher or the teacher at that session does her best to have the students at a certain level, because they're moving on. They're going to move on to the next one. And the other item that I wanted to bring up to Sandy was, I would be very careful with the optional item, because I tell you, I got my kids at home, they come home with their homework, and I tell them, hey, how come you didn't do the optional? And their answer to me is, well, because it's optional. I don't want to do it, it's optional, right? And so I struggle with telling them, well, yeah, but it's still what you have to do. Or
Maybe we should change the other words, so that is a bonus.
yeah, it's like a
Bonus,
bonus,
yeah.
right?
It's a bonus.
It's a bonus, and then they just look at me, right? Like, to who, right? Who's that bonus for? So I just careful, or I don't want to hear that it's optional. Now, I can understand it may be the challenge of different students at different levels of Mandarin learning, but I never like to see that optional stuff because it's a challenge at home. So I just wanted to give you that input. You're aware of that when you guys are structuring your program at the school. That's it. Okay, now you can go.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
You, Mr. Small.
Thank-
Dr. Bean.
Okay. Yeah, I'll just end the report by saying this, that what I've just heard from the board and Sandy is actually a very exciting interaction we just had, because I've been on, in the last 2 decades of education, I've been on many school boards, and school boards usually just talk about, like, the budget, and they may ask some questions about curriculum, but this board tonight, both in closed session and now, have really shown that the sophistication of the members toward the interest of what we're really, what our DNA is at Irvine International, right? That's the dual immersion Mandarin piece. And so I am very excited to hear that. And I'm also excited that we're talking about this, because that means we're on the right path. We're not talking about problems. We're not talking about concerns that the district may have or concerns parents may have, but we're actually talking about what's very important, and that is the education of our kids. So I just wanted to say kudos to this board and how sophisticated your questions and comments have been. Thank you.
We got a thumbs up from the whole board. We feel good talking about important items like curriculum and improvement in Mandarin language proficiencies and transition between grade levels and all of this. This is, for some, they might not find it exciting, but when you're in the school environment, this is what it's all about. And so thank you for directing our conversation. We're going to move on to item number 6, our consent agenda, which really only has one. It'll be the approval of our January 17th board meeting minutes. For those that had an opportunity to review our minutes before we ask for a motion to approve, should see if there were any corrections anybody had noted from your board packet. If not, I'll ask for a motion to approve our January 17th. It's technically 2023. I've been typing 2022 a lot myself, but we know it's 2023. Can I have a motion to approve the board minutes? David has a motion, and it looks like not long after it was Molly, so we'll give you a second. We'll do roll call vote. I'm a yes on that. Brett?
Aye.
I will skip Jolene. Miller?
Aye.
And David, the motion?
Aye.
And Felipe?
Aye.
And Molly? Okay, and so our minutes are approved in the record. Item 7 will be action items and some discussion. Thank you, Dr. B, for staying with us late on these, because it's nice because you have some input on our policies that are developed. And these, I don't think will take a long time, but they're important to know what they are. Mary Beth, any comments from the public on item A, where the board will consider approval of the IIA wellness policy for our nutrition services? No public comments. Dr. Bean, would you summarize, and is it Jamie Wu that had contribution on it?
Yes, Jamie Wu actually, with the support of Mary Beth, lead our whole national lunch program that we have. Remember, just to give context, this year was the first year that we're offering free meals, breakfast and lunches to all of our students. And in order to actually be able to afford that, we're part of the National School Lunch Program. Part of that program, then the state and the federal government subsidizes those meals. And of course, with money comes then requirements. And part of the requirement is that we as a school implement what's called a wellness policy. And I actually think it's a great idea. It's really, the goal is just to ensure that we provide healthy foods for our children, right? And that we teach them healthy eating behaviors, and that we make sure that they're physically active. That's why we feel that having PE specialists is very important. And then we address different parts of the whole being, which is the wellness of like their mental, social, and emotional wellness. And so this policy covers all of those goals. Part of the policy too is that there is a school wellness committee that meets 4 times per year. I know it's in your board packet, the whole policy, so I'm just summarizing it, but that this wellness committee meets 4 times a year. The next one is in April. We would love to include parents and students, administrators, our PE teacher, health professionals as a part of that. And then the committee then works on nutritional goals and then how we would implement those nutritional goals. For instance, so one of the goals could certainly be in our policy, as you read, mitigate childhood obesity. Well, how do we do that? We ensure that vended meals contain proper number of calories and limited sodium and fats. So that's, and then after the committee, what happens is annually, the committee gives a report to the board and then publishes the report on our website. If this board approves the wellness policy, we'll immediately publish it on our website, so it's open to the public. So that's pretty much what the wellness policy is, and we are. I'm requesting approval of the policy.
Great, I'll like comments or questions from the board. I might lead out with one, and I presume that this aligns in with the state mandate to provide the meals. I would guess the question is, did we have input from state of California? Did they give us a template for policy, or did we invite that from maybe our charter friends?
No, multiple people. So one is the input of our food vendor consultant. Ryan. I think it's School Food Solutions. That's why we, pay him to help consult us, because this is a huge program. So him, along with the state's templates, along with Mary Beth and Jamie, they put all this together, the committee, and to present to you. In fact, I saw the end product and I was very impressed with it. I didn't want to present it tonight. I wanted Jamie to, but I guess she had another meeting. But anyways, multiple people put this together. I think it's a wonderful document.
Other comments or questions from board members? If not, I'll entertain a motion to improve the wellness, the IIA wellness policy for nutrition services.
I make a motion.
Guess what, Felipe, Molly beat you this time, but if you'll do a second, we'll put it in the record that way. Thank you. Too fast. And we'll do a roll call vote. And I vote yes to approve the policy. Brett Freeman.
Aye.
Ann Miller.
Yeah.
David.
Yeah.
Felipe.
Yeah.
And Molly.
Yes.
Thank you for preparing that, Dr. Bean and your whole team, and Mary Beth as well. The second item, Mary Beth, any public comments on the discussion and action item for the board, where we're considering approval of the facilities use agreement for the coming school year 2023-2024 that was provided by Irvine Unified School District. No public comments. Board or questions or discussion. This is really exciting because this provides our facility, and we've developed a partnership with Irvine Unified School District in such a way that I think it has mutuality. They're very pleased. They take care of this facility with us, and I think they appreciate how we've cared for the facility as well. But other thoughts on our facility use agreement or questions for Dr. B? I'll just ask this one. It's probably obvious. Dr. B, do you feel like we'll have adequate space offered to us in this contract?
Yeah, so I've been back and forth negotiating with IUSD around this, and based on the expansion of 7th and 8th grade as well. If you look at the very end of the report is the map, and I'll tell you what has changed. A couple of things. One is the cost per square feet has increased, but that's typical year over year. But the square footage has decreased because IUSD is requesting that they have the use of rooms 5, 6, 7, and 8. And so as we were talking, negotiating back and forth, it was appropriate to give those 4 rooms because there were actually 4 other rooms that we weren't using anyways. So if you count all the rooms that they've given us, it's a total of 14 plus the music room. Gives us exactly what we need in terms of next year. Now, with the caveat, if we're going to grow after next year, which we will, we're going to need to start looking. We're going to need to either start renegotiating back for those 4 rooms, or we're going to need to start looking elsewhere to probably house our middle school. But for the school year of 2023-2024, we're set and we're good to go.
Thank you. Others from the board? Go ahead, David.
First, I have a question, with regarding to the signs and, we are not allowed to erect and put any signs.
That's correct. We're not allowed to put any signs on their building, or at least permanent signs. So we're working with a signage company to at least think of other solutions to put temporary signs, because that is a very important need that we have.
And in my view, that's a very important marketing tool. If people try to here, you can't find fix a sign, just a play a cardboard.
That's right.
It doesn't look right.
That's right.
I think it is the subject for negotiation. A point for negotiation.
That's a great point. No, it was not a subject of the negotiation this round. And it could potentially be for next year. Here's the thing, if we feel that this is our permanent resident, then I think it's a point of negotiation. But we're so young that I'm not sure if this is the permanent place in which we want to have Irvine International. If the vision is to grow to a county-wide charter school, I would ultimately like to see us, when we open up new campuses, grow into our own facility. And so, as you can see in the signage, we can request it, and if we can work it out with them, it can just be as simple as requesting it and having a meeting with Irvine Unified, which I'd be happy to do once we've solved the solution or solved the problem. But in terms of whether this is permanent or temporary, I think that's a conversation that the board should have at a future meeting, because I would love to start talking about long-term residency for our school.
Basically suggesting and talk to them at least we can put a temporary
Yeah.
sign.
Sure.
Not, erect on concrete or in the stone, the one in front of us. It's just a suggestion.
That's a great suggestion. I'll do that.
Our executive director to look into some abilities for some temporary signage that makes it clear that this is Irvine International Academy's in place. I have one just to add, and we'll hear from Brett too. On page 14, when we go to sign this, whether it'll be Dr. Bean or myself as a board member, let's change our contact address. It's an old one on page 14, and we'll just update it with our physical address here. And we'll just hand write it in for them or call them and just say, let's make sure their records are up to date.
Yeah, that's a great call out. I didn't even see that until you mentioned it. So when I sign, they asked me to sign, I'll sign it tomorrow and I'll put our correct address on it.
Dr. Bean, I have two questions. One, based on the rooms that IUSD currently has at the facility, how often do they use them?
So they don't.
They don't. I mean, up to this year, year to date, you're saying this year they've used it 0 times?
So they've used it 0 times. They have used rooms 10, 11, 12 for storage, but that's it. However, the reason why they came to me asking for these other 4 rooms is because they do have a plan to use them for a program that they would like to run out of those 4 rooms. Not exactly what sure the program is, but I think it involves distant learning.
Okay, thanks. And then I know during the warmer times of the year, there was some question about the airflow, the HVAC system. Was that remedied? I'm just thinking about as the seasons change.
Yeah, when Felipe got involved, once he became a board member, they really became a lot more responsive in that area. So I think it just took the nudging of, a board of trustee. And so IUSD has been very responsive in terms of, climate control. I know I complain every day because it's like cold in my office, but they have been responding when we call. Okay,
so do we know what it is that they did? Or it's just a matter of modification?
Yeah, I mean, they send out a technician, and then they either show us how to manually do it, or they make some, repairs to their current systems that they have.
Okay. I can pull that over that. Exactly what got done, there was no repairs to the existing system. What they looked at was adjusting some of the settings of the existing system. They also looked, like Dr. Bean said, they told us how to work the manual system, manual kickoff operation of the system. But they're still, you're talking about a facility with a 40-plus-year-old system. It's had some upgrades to a few modern installations
individual rooms and stuff like that. But there was a challenge with getting proper airflow to the building in general. I would suggest that before we start next year, we definitely hammer them again, you know, to get them to check. This is to make sure that we have a quality, as good a airflow and cooling system as possible before the, because that was our problem before. The kids were already, you know, they're very hot season, and trying to get, I'm sure you've all experienced this, trying to get an air conditioning man to your house on the hottest day or hottest day of the year is a challenge, and it's the same thing with folks that come to respond, but they're responding all right. So we need to be proactive. So I will put that on my list.
And is there, thank you, and then is there any further discussion on doors, or are we tabled that to some other time when?
Well, I mean, Felipe and I have gone back and forth on this, but in my several conversations with them, they said to do that, it just means that they have to retro the entire building, which costs millions and millions of dollars. So unless we're willing to spend millions and millions of dollars on it, I don't think there's going to be movement on it, frankly. And then the other question is, do we keep pushing and then, you know, make our landlords unhappy? I don't know, but balancing it, I just know it's going to cost millions of dollars, according to them, because it's not only building the new doors that like Felipe has shown us designs on, but it's actually then retroing all the other things that would be out of compliance or outdated or however you say that. So that's been their response.
I think also we looked at that even the walls are not, you know, soundproof, right? So even if we have
Right.
The next challenge would be the wall. They're almost temporary, I wouldn't say. So it would, you know, it's not going to solve the issue 100%. It just leads on to the next project. Okay.
So I think I would challenge the board to start having conversations about, and I talked to Felipe about this the other day, but start possibly hiring a company that can start looking for permanent either land to build on or facilities or whatnot. In order to do that, of course, we need to increase our enrollment and then, of course, open other schools, because really it is about the ADA that would help us finance such an endeavor.
I think we've all been here during we have the gatherings with celebrations. You see, it's already challenging. As soon as we add the 7th and 8th grade, that'll be that. And, you know, first we'll have to come up with innovative solutions in the meantime. But yeah, I agree.
Very good. Any other discussion on our consideration of facility use agreement? If no, I'll invite a motion to approve the facility use agreement for 2023-2024 with the exception of the changed address for our contact point on page 14. And David moves. I'll second that. We will do roll call vote. Mary Beth, I'm a yes. Brett Freeman.
Aye.
And Bill Sean.
Aye.
And David.
Aye.
And Felipe. And Molly. Wonderful. Yeah, I'm so glad we have this and timely too, within 7 days of them presenting it to us. That's good. That's security for the next year. Thank you for the hard work on that and keeping it timely. Mary Beth, item C, the board will discuss modification of the IIA school logo. We'll hear from Dr. Bean in a minute, but any public comments? Okay, this will be, this is kind of fun, isn't it? The evolution of the look and feel of our logo. I think everybody has a copy. Dr. Bean, what would you say about the logo and what are you asking us to do today?
Well, I'm going to say something simple and then I'm going to turn it over to Mary Beth. Basically, I think as we grow as an international school, hopefully offering other languages like Spanish, French, or whatever else, that we would create a design that would encompass all of that, like more of an international global design versus the Panda. I understand from history that the Panda was a last minute thing that some parents helped support, and it's definitely a cute logo. But I think as we expand, we need something more global and international that hits our tagline, which is right. We educating our students today to become global leaders tomorrow. So, Mary Beth, did you have anything to add to that, and why? Yeah.
Yeah, I do. This actually came about because, we were talking about signage. We're talking about, possibly, printing something so that, public could see our school, and so we're thinking about the logo. And then looking at the logo, we have simplified, traditional, Irvine International Academy, and it's basically a one-shot quotation. So we wanted you to discuss whether to keep it traditional or simplified. That's the first thing. The second thing is, since the direct translation is Irvine International, we would probably have to drop the Shawnee. But I know that some people would like to keep Shawnee because, you know, we are a bilingual school, and we don't want to lose sight of that. So that's the discussion that we want the board to consider. So there's no decision tonight, but at least a discussion.
This is gonna be fun.
Yeah.
I have a lot to say.
That's yes now.
You know, I would say this, that sometimes decisions have trade-offs, right? And this is probably one of those categories. Did you weigh in on it? Did you make your recommendation?
I did, yeah.
What were yours with what?
Propose the bottom.
Yeah, the bottom one, maybe add the Shuangyi as a simplified.
Let's hear from some of the other people who have traveled internationally, Mandarin speakers, readers. Tell us your opinions and where you land. Maybe we'll go left to right. Molly, you want to weigh in on it?
No.
Well, I have a hard time.
It's a trade-off, isn't it?
So I learned the tradition, and later I learned the simple. So, but I think right now, well, I don't know, when people see the traditional one, is that more popular nowadays, or is it simplified? You know, Chinese school probably would.
I think because this year we switched from traditional to simplified.
Okay, so our school changed to simplified. Then
Brett, opinion? So I have a couple thoughts on this. Good, hold the microphone close too. I have a couple of thoughts on this. So, my first thought is for the immediate future, we're looking for a solution quickly. So we changed it from traditional to simplified with the Shawnee, which is how it is now, because it's traditional. But I absolutely agree with the international focus that it should have some evolution. I don't think we should just be choosing one option or keep it the same. I actually think that we should look at maybe having some sort of contest or competition or something to offer to the school.
Yes.
To have students submit their thoughts on what we should do with our logo, and then have the student body maybe vote on it or something like that, and put forth a couple of the best ideas or whatever. We may consider having a third party come up with some ideas behind our international concept. So then we have just a few options, maybe 3 to 5 options or something like that, between what the students have proposed, and maybe there's some award, you know, based on those that are selected, which incentivizing, get the school really excited. Maybe even parents have an option. And then we let people vote on it. School vote on it, and then we make it an interactive thing. And because I think it really helps to sort of set the future for the school. It's a big decision. You change a logo, that's your big thing. It's on all our stuff. It's go out there and promote. And the Panda definitely does speak to the Chinese, which is great. but it is kind of a common symbol. And if we want to do something unique that represents what the international aspect is of the school, this may be a good opportunity to do.
Yeah, I think the logo, it's not only important marketing tool, of branding, it's also a positioning statement. You put an international academy or you put双语 urban one 双语国际学校 basically it's a that's a position. And my concerns, if we have the international, okay, when the Chinese, you see international, you're gonna teach Chinese and English. Then basically, because I sent my kid to international school in China, back in China, we know it's bilingual. And never occurred, okay, we're gonna learn someday, we're gonna learn Russian and French. So, what kind of message, it's marketing message you want to convey to the public? I agree with you, we can invite other parents and maybe even students to come up with some creative idea, but this logo, basically, it's there. Really, it's already there. I don't think that we needed to kind of substantially change anything, except, what the Chinese characters are always, what kind of Chinese characters are put there? So simplified or traditional, or do we want to emphasize that strong? My personal opinion, I think there's nothing wrong with the origin. You can put it as a complex version. Actually, I'm a strong promoter of a simplified Chinese, but the traditional is fine. Yeah. But if you want to change anything, my suggestion is to add a strong, because if you wanted to keep attracting Chinese speakers and kids, you understand. You understand. You can also teach Chinese. Okay, that's just my interpretation.
That's good. Felipe, thoughts on it before we go to Miller?
So I gotta lean with David here. I'm leaning with you. I just have one question. What does it actually say here?
Yeah, it's same, simplified, but with the missing the.
I'm not asking you what the difference is. I said, what does it actually say? What does it say? International. What is it?
双语国际学校.
So it actually says Irvine International.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
With the bilingual.
Oh, all it says is bilingual
Yeah,
on the top.
Irvine bilingual
Yeah, international.
That's interesting. I didn't know that that's what it said there, and so I still would have to leave with you that it's fine the way it is. Although, if someday we were to expand on the language, maybe whatever language that is would be part of this. If it was Spanish, then down here, we would have to Spanish interpretation, right? So we would, if we were a Chinese Spanish program, Chinese on the top and Spanish here and whatever.
That's what I was saying,
Or
that's a position. You position, you change that, you want to change the position, that's a strong statement.
But when it changes.
So, yeah, so the 双语 means two. Yeah, so if we change that one word 双 to 多, so that means we can.
Multiple language. Yeah, I would like to see that language.
So then the argument, so you're gonna add the Russian, some people say, something. French, what's that?
Yeah.
Chinese, or Vietnamese.
So, or if we want to put 多, that means many, well, right now, we do, so that's, as of right now, that, so I don't know, but I never heard about it still.
Yeah, you sounds like a door. That means, yeah. Yeah, well, I would like to speak this, I think I recommend to change. Because that is a limitation, and then also literary translation is Irvine International. So just stay with that name, because that strong doesn't say anything. Because that just, because when we have a Chinese on top, it tells we have Chinese. So I think that is, but I would recommend to put 2 more characters into it, is California. 加州尔湾国际学校. That puts us into the international. That whoever that comes in, actually so many people don't know Irvine. Period. Chinese people don't know. When you say Irvine, the whole Canadian don't know where are you?
Oh, you're a Canadian.
Sorry, I'm just, yeah. And then when you ask Chinese overseas, where's Irvine? It's just too small because we're international. This is a California. Then the California makes a bigger sound. So yeah, I would just say that 加州尔湾国际学校. That would makes it is a state, is a place. But you say, okay, let's add the Orange County, but it doesn't sound good. So that's just what I will say. Put that, but take out the strong, then simplify. Because our kids and then people learning and then right away. I learned traditional too, but I think they're nice. But for our children, that to put their name, our school, that's easier than rather than it's complicated.
Hopefully that's helpful, Mary Beth, and Dr. Vivian is here. And you know what I hear is, what I like is the recognition, logos or logotypes. Think we buy a logotype. Coca-Cola doesn't look like it did 100 years ago, and there is the freedom to do that. It's a representation, and to keep in mind that people think in pictures, but we're limited with language. So the language on the page tries to evoke the right pictures in the mind, and the closer we can get to the pictures we hope they have in their mind, the better. So, Mary Beth, that was all for you. And just know you have a board that's opinionated but flexible. And we know it'll accomplish the goal. I don't think we need a vote on that. We'll just trust you to manage our brand, as we say, and do all of that. That brings us to some closing items, and that would be a round robin for Roman numeral 8, just any board comments, and we'll just go in sequence. I'm first, but I don't have any board comments tonight. I'm just thrilled with everything happening. We'll go to Miller and then work our way back.
Yeah, I have something that too, that we have a CO2. That if we change that, we need to change this little CO2. So this right and
Right.
Chinese. That it's just a simple. Yeah. So that means it's not 1, it's just 2. Yeah. Okay.
We have to make.
Yeah, because we do have a current corporation, so to speak.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I like that.
Oh, some flexibility there.
So it is another one, that's a seal.
See,
The seal.
That's what we're seeing.
That's a seal.
yeah.
Thank you for reminding us of that. Well, let's
That's
go
all.
down the line then. You'll be final. We'll give Molly a moment. Any comments or recommendations for our executive director?
Yeah.
Oh, I do have, I'm going to reserve back one comment at the end. I forget something, but let's go to Molly first, and then we'll just go down the line.
I appreciate Sandy for the hard work and explaining the curriculum a lot. And I also especially grateful for Mary Beth Jamie and for the report on this policy nutrition service. I know there's a lot of work being done, and just think about the health and the nutrition for the children. I also have fun to talk about the logo. Thank you for the opportunity for us to express, spread our it's fun. Look forward to see our new logo or the same logo. That'll be fun too.
Just wanted to thank the PTO and those that supported the Lunar New Year Festival here last week. I think that was really a fantastic event. And you just feel the excitement here. The room is packed. We have support from the vendors. We thank the vendors for supporting the school, the parents, the families. It just is a fantastic time. Every time we have an event, we really feel the community. And I think it's definitely what we have been striving for. So thank you to all those involved. We really, really appreciate it.
Yeah, I would like to thank Dr. Lee for your patience during the discussions with some teachers and parents. And I know this is very challenging sometimes. It's discomforting. But I really appreciate the patience and your openness in opening discussions and understanding the issues. Going forward, I will, as a board member and as a parent, I will continue to do whatever it takes on my part to support you and support the administration.
That's good.
That's good.
Okay, so, as you know, I spend a lot of time on the campus. I do come by and I look at the school and I act like I'm in charge here. And I walk through the school and I walk through that, and I look at the teachers and I check out the meals. I also look at how the children are playing in the playgrounds, how they're being supervised. I also look at the after-school program. I'm looking at all those things. And I gotta tell you, I don't see a lot of problems here, if any. I am watching all the time, and if I did notice something, I would bring it up to the appropriate people. So I just want to tell you, Dr. Booth, from my observation, which as you know, I spent a lot of hands-on looking around. It looks pretty good. Okay, so far. All right. And I'm looking forward to that continuing. I do want to give a small update about our proposed gala, our celebration gala. And we are still in the committee, and we are going to meet here this week, talk more about that. We do have a plan. We do have a location picked out. We are going to assign tasks to some of the committee members to start working towards that goal. We are tentatively placing the date as May 6th. It will be on a Saturday. It's a lunchtime affair. There will be lunch served and more news to come. So that is going on. So that I can update you now. And if you want to be involved, all you gotta do is contact me and I'll give you something to do. All right.
You said all this fun stuff. So yeah, I think Dr. Bin, thank you so much. That I would like to using one word that from Dale Carnegie said, if you want to get a honey, don't kick over the beehive. I think I really enjoy because I think that you're gathering all the honey. And then you using your profession and also using your patient that you deal with lots of obstacles. I can witness that. So I just want to say that thank you. This is not enough, but I think I can see the face of the parents, see the children's faces, and also see the lions dancing. So I will just say that I enjoy every part of it. And also, we are a team that can see that growing into very, very positive that we will win the next Super Bowl. Because this time we win it with the red color. I think next one is the same. So my prediction is achieved. Go along. Yeah, I'm sorry for those other teams. So yeah, but I think you make the team. And then we fully congratulate for that, and they can see it, the spirit right here. So I dress up for this. 恭喜恭喜 Congratulations.
I love that.
No
fun
fact.
Well, and finally then, I'm holding a, thank you for your leadership and for your service card for Dr. Jolene Smith, who completes her board service tonight. She was not feeling well and not here in person, but I'll personally deliver this card from this team here on campus and this fellow board members, along with a nice gift that represent us well. But we do appreciate you, Dr. Smith, and what you brought with the collaborative learning models and your wisdom and insight and energy. And you had agreed to wrap up, actually, well, you had planned to wrap up because you had 15 grandchildren last June, but we asked you to stay through the summer. And then I personally asked you if you would stay through the opening of school, and you made it all the way through winter quarter. And so I'm grateful for the extra service, and now it's time to enjoy your third retirement. So we do thank you, and we'll do that. We're ready then for a motion to adjourn. Could I ask for that motion? Miller, oh, wait, let me pause that. Yes, Brett, please. Oh, that's right. It's on my notes here. Go ahead and ask it, and then we'll talk about it.
The future board business and dates, wanted to propose if we could move the March 21st to the March 28th.
So a proposal, Mary, that for March 28th, that won't conflict with, allow Brett to be here in person. We'll just look around the board. Is the 28th a conflict for anybody here? Miller, you would attend by.
I might be here.
Or you may be.
I might be here. Yes, that's the day. If it's 21, no, but
It's not a
28, I might be
conflict for
here.
me. It's fine for me.
It's fine.
Molly's good, and David's good, and then Felipe, any?
I don't plan that far ahead.
I understand, it's okay, so let's go, yeah, so let's make that accommodation and it'll serve everybody well, just like this move. And thank you, everybody, for the special day, here being here as well. Then I think I'll ask for that motion to adjourn. And I got a nod from David as he makes that motion. Brett, Miller got it on his second, and so I'm gonna yes, Molly,
Yes.
and Brett,
Aye.
and David.
Yes.
And Felipe.
Yes.
Yes.
Sure, thank you, Merida. Thank you for everybody who participated online as well. We appreciate you as well.